Hello everyone, and welcome back to another YouTube video. So I'm officially back from my holiday and exhausted because our flight got delayed by just under 3 hours, so we didn't land till 3:30 in the morning. But I need to get this video done, so here we go. Here's my ARTFIGHT profile, by the way, if you want to look at everything I did this month. Obviously, it's over now, but other than that, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I think we can just get right into the video. So the first character is actually from week 1 or 2, I think, so I guess this isn't really a week 3 and 4 video, but shush. So the first character I drew is Aurora by Bimblesunn. I really hope I pronounced your name right, and here's where I apologize in advance for any mispronounced names in the video. A haughty and aristocratic elf who's only got an eye for jewelry, gold, and all things that glitter. After the ruin of her family name, she set out into the world in search of riches, though her more high-class lifestyle clashes greatly with her more experienced traveling companions. This causes her fear of bugs, mud, the outdoors, and helping others flare up. She persists in spite of it all with an all-knowing attitude and perfect hair. So, safe to say, I had to draw her based on her description alone. But even ignoring her description, look at the design, look at her clothes, just look at everything, actually. Also, Bimblesunn's art style is just so, yummy. I know I call a lot of, things scrumptious and, delicious and all that, but this is yummy. This is giving me fresh out of the oven baked cookies with flood icing on them, but not the flood icing that is too sweet, the right level of sweet flood icing, if that makes sense. That probably doesn't make sense, but what does in this channel, let's be so honest. Also, just the shape language, I think they're using it on purpose because it's done so subtly to where I'm I don't know if they noticed they're doing it, but it's done so right that I'm this has to be on purpose, surely. But maybe it's just a subconscious thing with them because it's kind of addicting to look at. Just check out their art, to be honest, because it is, all their characters are just phenomenal. I love everything about this character, and I would love to see a D&D game including her, because she is also a D&D character. So, I started with a sketch, as per usual. There's not much I can say on that, except I need to use references for poses. We'll get there someday. I'm only a life-changing experience and a few musical numbers away, I swear. Then, as per usual, I moved on to the line art. I know, crazy. I actually think I'm getting better at line art, which is crazy to me because when I started doing digital art again, I sucked at it. It's okay, we can be honest about it. It wasn't pretty, and that's okay, and I won't be offended if you tell me that, because you're right. Then I just used the color dropper tool. Is that what that's called? The one that picks colors, the color picker tool, that thing. It's called something like that anyway. And I used that so that I would get all the colors right. And then I just did some shading, added a bit of pizzazz by basically coloring a layer black and then setting that layer to color so that my art turned into a grayscale. And then I pick more saturated colors that match the shade of the color I want it to go with. It's not a very scientific method, but it looks nice and it makes me feel like I know a bit more art than I actually do. So, Then I think I added the little gradient layers I usually do in multiply and overlay and turn the opacity down on them really low because I like how it looks. Someday we will have an in-depth conversation about art. But that day is not today because you guys probably know more than me. Let's be honest. So, here we have Aurora. Thank you so much to Bimblesunn for letting me use your OC in a video. Again, any socials I find of these artists will be linked in the description, so please check them out. Now on to our second character, or in this case, characters. So, next I drew Andrea and Lorenzo by Amika_Frizz. So, Andrea is 15 years old and non-binary, and they are Lorenzo's sibling. A total diva and fashionista, bratty and childish and not afraid to speak up on what they find wrong. The potionist of the group as well as the healer, and they are a magician. As for Lorenzo, he is a 17-year-old boy in a relationship with Luca and Andrea's brother. He has a troubled past with his previous group of friends that gave him the scar he has now. He's now in a better group. He's not the brightest, but is very empathetic and understanding of others. He has had many romantic and relationship problems, and often his stupidity and stubbornness makes him a pain to deal with. And he is also a magician. So I read these 2 descriptions and immediately decided I had to draw them together because, I mean, their sibling dynamic just sounded so fun. Also, we have to mention Andrea's style and fashion choices because it really reminded me of like 90s to early 2000s animated shows. You know the ones I'm talking about, right? Like Winx and Totally Spies. That may have contributed to me drawing them, I will not lie, but you know. I also really like Amika_Frizz's design and style in just general when it comes to their characters. They're also like unique, but they all work so well together when, you know, they're put side by side, and I mean, just look at them. They speak for themselves, to be honest. As for my process, it was pretty similar to all my other drawings, with the only main difference being I was drawing 2 characters interacting. So my sketching phase was just like the teensiest bit more messy than usual, which I know you think is impossible, but it was possible. I mean, what? My sketches are so clean. I don't even know why I bother with line art. I tried to capture the sibling look for Andrea. Anyone who has siblings knows what I'm talking about. It's the look. Other than that, I almost forgot part of Andrea's accessories twice. But I realized it, so we're going to pretend I didn't. Okay? As for Lorenzo, I just wanted to make him look like he hadn't a care in the world. He's just feeling happy, as he should. Anyway, that's it for Lorenzo and Andrea. Thank you so much to Amika_Frizz for letting me use your OCs for a video. Now let's move on to our next drawing. So I'm going to preface these next 2 drawings with the fact that they were drawn on a plane with the back of a pen on my mom's iPad I borrowed for the trip so that I could draw digitally, and the pen kept sticking to said iPad because it didn't have a smooth end to it. But it was the closest thing I had to any sort of stylus, and I tried my best, so that's why the line work is a little bit more shaky than usual. Again, I know you think that's impossible, but it was. And because I was using a different software, I was also a little less comfortable as well, and also the recording style is going to change to a time-lapse speed paint instead of like a regular speed paint because different software. So, our next character is Arachnia by regularmetoday, and I totally didn't have a bias towards drawing her because one of my OCs is also based on a spider, and I totally didn't almost forget to draw her extra limbs. Aside from all that, look at this design. Just look at it. I love the mix of like the cool tones with like the warm red. It really makes, you know, the reds pop. And, you know, by that degree makes her pop. And I mean, the details in her hair, like genuinely, if you zoom in, there's so much detail. And also like, I love the hairstyle in general. It's adorable, and I love when people mix something that's usually seen as creepy with something adorable. So, needless to say, I had to draw Arachnia. So, because my process was mostly the same, I'm going to talk about my experience with IBIS Paint instead. So, fun fact, IBIS Paint is actually the first drawing software other than Flip-A-Clip and I guess MS Paint if you count that. And if you count Flip-A-Clip, since it's technically just for animation, but anyway. But it's been years since I last used it, so I went into this hoping it would be easy to get used to again, and it was actually quite easy to use. Very user-friendly. Also, I didn't really flip my canvas at all. In fact, I didn't think I did at all, so please don't do that. But it's really easy to. I kind of figured that out after doing these 2. So take notes, Krita. I think Krita has a shortcut key for it, but I don't learn shortcut keys, so. And also, I forgot how handy the selection layer is. Take notes, Krita. But I did also miss some things, like my brush folders, because scrolling for ages to find the right brush was a little annoying. But maybe I'm just dumb, and there's an easier way to do it. But I was in a plane with no Wi-Fi to Google it, and I also didn't want to make custom brushes for a software I probably won't be using again, because I don't own an iPad or tablet, and the PC version isn't free, and I'm cheap, as we already know. Other than that, though, my only other complaint is the fact that the color dropper picker tool thingy is not 100% accurate, which wasn't a problem with this drawing, but was with the next one, so I'll talk about that later. But I mean, other than that, I did really enjoy using IBIS Paint. Is it IBIS Paint or is it IBIS Paint, actually? I've heard both. It doesn't matter. And, I mean, it pretty much has all the features that I use, so I didn't really have many problems other than the ones I mentioned. So there's Arachnia. Thank you so much to regularmetoday for letting me use your OC in a video. Now let's move on to our final character for ARTFIGHT 2024. So our last character is Blair by Caramel, and this character is just so cozy looking. Like, I love characters that they just have a cozy vibe to them, if that hasn't been made obvious already. And I just love Caramel's art style. It's just so cozy. Like, pretty please make a video game. I would pay heinous amounts for that. So, here's where I talk about my main problem with IBI's paint. The color dropper picker tool thingy. Because, I kid you not, anytime I color picked her skin tone, it was a different skin tone. I thought I was going insane. Like, I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the time lapse, but I was like properly tweaking about halfway through this, so I checked with the hair just to make sure, like, because you know the way I do the overlay thing with the undertones to have like your blue, red, and yellow undertones, so I thought it could have been that for a bit, but then I checked with the hair, which doesn't have any of that on it, and it wasn't that, so obviously it just wasn't 100% accurate, and also I didn't even have the undertones on at the time, so I don't even know why my brain jumped to doing that, but it did. But yeah, no, it's not 100% accurate, which, I mean, it's fine. We got through it in the end, and honestly, like, knowing me, I did probably just hit a setting or something while I was doing this that made it not 100% accurate, so I might just be the problem, because I don't think I've ever heard this complaint before, so I'm probably the problem, actually, but please let me know, because I was so confused. Like, if you use IBI's paint, why was it doing that? Does it do that sometimes, or am I the problem? Because I might be the problem, but I didn't have that problem when I drew Arachnia. It was just this drawing for some reason. So anyway, here's Blair. Thank you so much to Caramel for letting me use your OC. And with that, we've reached the end of the video. So thank you to all the artists in this video. As I said, any socials I find will be linked in the description. And thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Irish word of the week is tra, which means beach.